Buongiorno, senor, por favor. Welcome to WarThunder. I'm Squishface. This is a video of the Mirage 2000s here. I got the Mirage 2000, and there's been some changes in the game, and this is gonna be like a little bit of a housekeeping video because I can talk about some stuff, and I can take like 3 videos and just condense them into one, and not have to do all the effort. And yeah, it's gonna hurt the viewership, and it's gonna make things a little bit discombobulated, but there's not enough to say really about the Mirage 2000 to really ramble on for like the 20 minutes, so we're not gonna do that. We're going to instead basically make 3 different, like, 7 to 8 minute videos and just kind of cram all the subjects into one so you guys can, like, just watch one thing. You can listen to it in the background. I don't know how you guys consume my content. Maybe you guys enjoy the background footage. Maybe you guys don't actually care about it. But WarThunder has changed. It's just a little bit. It's not like a radical change. Not super radical. It's still the same game. But there are a couple of changes I do probably need to talk about, or at least give my thoughts on, because everyone needs to give their 5 cents and, you know, be like a part of the conversation or whatever. So there's a couple things that happened. Number one, the battle ratings of some things have changed, and the battle rating ranges have changed, like, just a little bit. Like, they added 12.7. Some stuff got moved up to 12.7, and the top tier brackets for sim, or top, I call it top, and like tippy top, or whatever you want to call it, have changed a little bit. So you have like this really interesting matchmaker now where just below top tier, stuff that used to be like really, really good, that kind of like started showing its age when it was fighting F-16Cs, F-16As, Su-27s, is once again like super duper hyper relevant. Stuff like the F-14A is going to be super duper hyper relevant for this 11.7 and down matchmaker. And it means that a lot of people can experience what top tier used to be like, or what top tier was around, say, like a year ago, when the F-14, the Mirage 2000, the MiG-23 ML variants were all the kind of like the best thing anyone had. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. This is actually a pretty enjoyable matchmaker setup, because the anxiety that AIM-9M spam induces, and the anxiety that just like so many missiles induces, is kind of stressful. And kind of coming back to an area where you have like a pretty good flight model, you have like interesting planes, you can go fast, you can do like the missile stuff, but like you have like pretty reasonable counterplay to it. Like, you're not getting hit by a random invisible AIM-9M or an R-27ER that got launched from 40 kilometers. The guy relocked at the last second. You were more than 6.5 feet above the deck and you just ate shit. Like, that doesn't happen as much in this tier. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of okay. It also means that Mirage 2000 F-14 kind of a little bit overpowered in this down tier setup. But right now, I kind of want to just wait and see what happens. Day one, a bunch of people went to the Mirage 2000. I see a lot of Mirage 2000s in Matchmaker. I see a lot of experienced players in Mirage 2000, because I think a lot of us realize, like, hey, this plane's really fucking good now. And it's also, like, it's good, but it's also fun to fly, which is kind of unlike, at least for me, unlike the F-14, which is good, but to me feels pretty tedious. I never really enjoyed the F-14. I know it's good. I've dogfought in it. Like, the F-14 can do like the whole rate fighting thing around the Mirage 2000. It's like it's a decent enough matchup that I think it's fair. But for everything else, your F4S is your premium kind of stuff, especially your Phantoms. In this scenario, in like 10.7 and 11.7, they're really gonna suffer. But that's kind of really all there is to it. There's also some stuff that got changed a little bit in BRs, but most of it's like a +3 or a -3. Like the F5E went down to 10.7. I don't think that's going to have like a radical change. It's going to mean that the F5E is like super good and like 10.7 down, but I think in Sim that plane is not as good as it is in AirRB, just because I think people tend to stay a little bit faster. But I don't know, I'd have to play it a little bit more to really get a feel for it. So anyways, that's probably all the time I need to dedicate to that. Gonna kind of wait and see how it plays out. The other thing that got changed is Gaijin has taken all of their event stuff and they've shit-canned it, redone it, and instead of shoveling shit for a really aggressive period for like 4 times a year, you're just going to be kind of shoveling more shit, more spread out, but throughout the entire year. Basically what they did is they got rid of the build events, and they've made every event a star event. The thing that we just got done doing but instead of getting stars for 3 vehicles at the same time and being limited to like a time frame of like 20, 25 days, whatever it is, you're still going to have 20 to 25 days, but now every vehicle event's going to be its own standalone thing. So like right now they have some fucking Russian tank with a gigantic cannon on it that you can grind for, and you got to do the however many points it is in some kind of ground battle. The other thing they've done is they've taken the points requirement and they've increased them a little bit, and then they increased the points requirement that you need to fulfill in order to be able to sell the thing that you grind for. So overall, the grind has gotten, I would say, substantially longer, but I don't know how it works out in the math. I'm not going to sit down and try to equate points to time, but overall, change is good / bad. It's I'm going to argue that it's bad because it does require you to spend more time in WarThunder, and what they're doing is they're trying to manipulate your fear of missing out, so you're going to play more WarThunder. You're going to be more tempted to branch out into other game modes, which means if you're not playing WarThunder as just an airplane game, but if you're playing it as a ship game and a tank game, and you're playing all of the game modes, you're maximizing monetization. So I think that's their angle for it. The other thing is it probably does save a little bit of cost and time to spread out the quote-unquote development / reskinning of whatever bullshit they're going to make you grind for. But overall, that's kind of what to expect. Events have just kind of turned into, I would just call it like Battle Pass 2.0. It is what it is. I don't really care. I don't really expect them to do anything different. But anyways, that's that. So, and then the last thing, we're going to talk about the Mirage 2000, because we finally got to the part of the video where fucking Tom Cruise shows up and does the fucking flippy flip. And we're going to go around the block here. We're going to pull a whip of shitty here and just come around and frag his ass. And this is like the thing that I like about this plane, is I like dogfighting in it. I like the flight model. And I like fucking shooting people with guns. Like, missiles are fine, whatever. You can get kills with them, but they're just not as satisfying. And this plane is like just really fucking cool. And so Tom Cruise here does his fucking Cobra Kai maneuver, fucking Beyblades, and has no speed, and he dies. But I mean, it looked cool as fuck though. That was like cool as shit. Like, holy fuck. We merge with another F-14. He comes across. We reverse the turn. We're going to go back into him, but we're going to get like just a little bit above him because we don't want to just pull in for a straight head-on, so we kind of like go a little bit to the outside here. And what this plane is really good at doing is it can go slow, and it can kind of just like sit inside of everything. So it's a really weird flight model where on paper it doesn't have really good turn rate, and I think the term be like, oh yes, it has really good nose authority, but it really just seems to hit above the classification of whatever the fuck its EM diagram would look like. I'm not gonna go fucking look it up though. But that guy goes out. He gives us a little bit too much distance, and we just end up shooting with a radar missile in the face instead of taking the head on. We try to get this A-10 in the head on, and we just kind of blow right past him. Like, we can fight him. We can fight him at low speed, but we kind of don't want to, because like really the easiest way to fight him is to just kind of like go past him and then just start doing like a big spiral, because he can't really point up that well. But you need to like manage it so that like you are beyond the point where he can point his nose and shoot a 9L. So you know we're German the words, or we're buttering the biscuit here, or whatever. And we're just gonna kind of like slowly take him up in a spiral. We look behind us, and we're really cautious here, because we're just kind of trying to stall him out like he's a prop, because if we can do that, then it's just a free kill. But we get above him. We're still going to try to shoot a Magic 2 through his flare cloud. Like right there, I think I can get it, and we hear like the oh shit sound of the Vulcan, and we just immediately reverse the turn. And I was trying to get that kill. And now when I get these guys here, like I have enough experience where a lot of the time I fly it by the fucking seat of my pants. I go in the right direction, and I'm able to use track IR. Like, I picked up the guy like pretty quickly. Like, fucking pretty quick. So I don't have any advice for that. A lot of that's just like fucking experience, to be honest. Same thing here. We get out of that game. The Denmark game goes about the way you would expect it, with a bunch of Mirage 2000s on one team and a bunch of Bozas on the other. And we leave that one with like 6 kills. We go to Sinai. And the same thing. The rest of the game is just, the rest of the video is just shitting on 14s. I'm cutting out all the F4S kills and all the other crap, because it's all literally all looks the same. I could literally play the same clip like 36 times and be the same. This guy comes in, and this is like what F-14s do, that like they're afraid of your radius, and they're afraid that you're gonna cut inside of them, so they do like these gigantic fucking turns to like do like the big turn rate thing, but they don't do it correctly, and we just kind of have free position. So we shoot a Magic 2, we think it's going to hit, but just in case it doesn't, we're going to start going out of plane here, and we want to get like above him, because eventually he's going to have to come up to us, he's going to have to start cutting into us, or he doesn't have to, but he's going to be tempted to. And we're just kind of freely sitting behind him, and the other thing we need to do is we need to close this. So we're going 350 kph, which is not a lot, but we can cut inside of him and start closing the distance that way. Like, yeah, cool, he has more turn rate, but he has no position to actually utilize it from. But we're going to shoot from far away. We're trying to get lucky here because it's looking like he might know what to do. If he gets his wings out, if he gets to 650, if he deploys the flaps, the F-14 can fuck you. And that's kind of like the way that it has to fight. But we kind of bait him up here, and he is losing his speed trying to gain position on us. And because he's going like 0 miles per hour, we hold down the trigger and we shoot. And that's why the Mirage 2000 is just fucking cool. Like, it's fun to fly, and it's fun to fuck with people in. We come in, and that's the same guy. That guy's having a bad day. Understandable. We do a little bit of LARPing. We take a little bit of a break. We can't just shit on F-14s, but we're terrain masking. And by terrain, we're masking with the bombers. We want to see what happens. Because I was playing with the idea of, like, maybe if I sit behind these fucking bombers, I won't eat the AIM-54. They'll eat it for me. And maybe I can, like, do some BVR stuff or some radar missile stuff without being targeted, because I'm going to be sitting in a cloud of friendly AI. And it actually kind of sort of worked for a bit, but nobody came near it, so whatever, we skipped to the next part. Merge with the F-14 again, I think. I think the same guy, and, oh, no, he shoots in the head-on. I fucking hate head-on forces, man. I hate it when people do that. It's like, I get fucking cucked by people like that all the fucking time. It's so fucking... Same thing. It's the same dude. Just fucking... He's just like, he knows I'm not going to go for the head-on. He knows the guy's a Vulcan. He knows I got shitty fucking Deflas. But we go up, we go out of plane, and we're straight chilling. We got the big missile, but we get a hit there. And we have the position, like, we can carry our fat radar missiles around with not really a lot of penalty. Like, there is a penalty, but like the way this plane fights everything else, like, I don't think it really changes the matchup. So we just kind of sitting outside of him, and we're gonna hold down the trigger again, and if we get another kill, the head-on forcer is he's dead. Fuck him. Too bad. So sad. Now, one of the things I've noticed, like, playing this though, is like it's kind of the same thing as everything else at top tier, where you start getting kills, you get too many of the kills, and guys don't want to stick around. Like, this F-14 player, a couple of these guys, like, I kind of like went and merged with them over and over again, and they didn't do well. They didn't get better, and that's a frustrating experience for them. It's a cathartic one for me, because I played a lot of SU-27 and played a lot of MiG-29, and I've been getting farmed for KD for the last like 6 months. So, coming to France and doing well feels good, and doing well with guns feels even better, because I mean, launching bullshit missiles in the Gripen is whatever, kind of the most mind-numbingly boring experience. But he comes up, we merge, we kind of keep doing the same thing. Like, as long as you can kind of get like a good first turn or two in, and these guys go a little bit too far to the outside, you can kind of just sit inside and you're usually okay. Now, if someone knows what they're doing, if someone like pulls their head out of their ass, you kind of just cope as like something like an F-14 just kind of rates itself around you and drains you of energy. But those kind of players that actually know how to do that, especially against something like this, is pretty rare. Like, I've had pretty good luck with this thing, even fighting against like F-16 players. But there is a point where you run out of energy. Oh, there's a point like that where I got too high. I went for a B-57 because I thought it was the 14 and just die. But there is a point where instead of maintaining the rate, instead of like sitting behind them, you might want to just break off and force like a reset. Like, just get as fast as possible, get them behind you, let them get behind you, And then once they're behind you, let them close in a little bit and just kind of like rip the stick as hard as you can. Just do like a flat scissors or something to get them to overshoot. And then you just kind of sit inside of them again and try to see if they can rate their way out of it. Because otherwise, if you just sit inside of them and let them rate on the outside and they actually do get behind you, you're going 300 kph and they're going like 700. And then you're just kind of coping. The other thing is, like, if you get too aggressive, like in a furball with this thing, you're going slow. You do end up being kind of vulnerable to third parties. I say kind of because the plane is small. It means guys are going to have a harder time hitting it. At the same time, I'd rather be in this than in, like, the F-14. Like, the F-14 is a weird flight model. It can turn rate really good. It can AOA pretty good. But it's kind of, I don't know, kind of sensitive. It's not as intuitive as this thing is. Like, this thing, this fly-by-wire thing, fly this on damping, it's kind of, it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. And come in, we get more than 2 meters off the deck. We eat an aim 7, but because we're built in France, we're just chilling. He goes a little bit too far out. He doesn't see the magic. He's not anticipating it. He saw the hit. He probably thought that he had me killed and had me dead to rights, and he probably should. Like, I don't really think that I should have survived like a big ass missile like the AIM 7F, but you know, sometimes it happens. Got another guy, and we kind of like pushed him like basically up to the airfield limit. Like, this is just something that happens, and we're gonna run out of fuel anyways. We're gonna nose down, and we're gonna try to fight her out, because why not? And you can see in the background, I think those are Rolands going off. Yeah, we're right at the airfield. We've kind of done like the scummy thing, and we're going to continue doing the scummy thing. We're going to shoot the missile at the guy. We get hit by the Rolands, pancake into the ground. But, you know, premium player copes, and that is going to be the Mirage 2000. It's a great plane.